What's up, y'all? It's your boy Steph, back with another reaction. Merry Christmas. So this time we have CreepsMcPasta. Stay away from this elf doll. Creepypasta. I know it doesn't say Christmas in the title, but obviously elves are, they come along with Christmas, so I know it's going to be a good video. It's going to go into my Creepy Christmas little special project, archive, album, whatever you want to call it, playlist that I put out for the holiday. I'm letting you know right now, dolls and me, we don't get along. In recent years, getting to know all these horror stories and whatnot, man, dolls are in the same category as like gnomes, scarecrows, statues, all that. Objects that are not supposed to move but do, usually under paranormal possession and whatnot. Yeah, I ain't got time for that. And judging by how that doll looks in the thumbnail, I don't like how it looks. So I can tell this story is going to be good. Haven't reacted to nothing from CreepsMcPasta in a while. So definitely check him out. A link to his channel will be down in the description, along with a link to this original video. Also down there will be links to all of my social medias. Connect with your boy and see the personal life that I don't upload to YouTube. And without further ado, let's get into it. Black Santa, baby.
When buying gifts, I often go to antique shops first. I'm in the mindset that if I ask someone what they want and buy it, that's not a gift. That's just buying something for someone.
Right, because they know you're getting
I also struggle to find ideas from modern technology, as everyone has their own preferences and desires.
Gotta surprise them.
However, in antique stores, you can find some gems in the rough, and I guarantee that that gift would be unique. This is something I strive for. I love seeing the reaction when giving a gift that they themselves had never thought they wanted. It was because of this that I found myself once again browsing the dusty shelves of a store I found on the way to my son Jason's house. He had moved out a year ago and had been looking to start a family soon. So my goal was simple: find a nice gift for Christmas. Jason was a classic lover of vintage aesthetic, something he probably picked up from me, and was a style getting pretty popular in this day and age. I made some laps around the store until I found something that made light bulbs flash atop my head. A small antique sewing machine. These are used a lot for decoration, rather than use. Sometimes they're used in high-end store displays for older style clothes. What didn't appeal to me, however, was the decrepit elf doll that sat right next to it. I gently pushed it over and picked up a hefty contraption, the robust metals of the machine weighing it down significantly. The store clerk noticed me struggling in my age and waddled over to help, something I often neglected to ask for, but heartily welcomed when offered. I had it boxed, checked out, and took it over to my car. Happy, I carried on my way to Jason's house. When I pulled up to Jason's driveway, I sneakily rummaged around the car for the wrapping paper and tape I packed earlier.
What's with the shadow
I peeked
passing?
inside to make sure the ride hadn't disturbed its aged slumber, and my heart dropped.
Y'all see that shadow passing back
To me,
and forth?
there must have been a mistake. Sat atop the sewing machine, in the spare space left in the box, was the worn-out elf doll from before, staring at me with cracked porcelain skin and detailed glass eyes.
It keep going to the left.
I sighed, feeling the clerk must have thought I was after them both at the store due to their close proximity. However, all hope wasn't lost. I knew I needed to head the same way back, which would give me a chance to return it after the weekend. So I suppressed the guilt, as long as I kept in mind to remember to return it. The weekend went great, though it had only been a year since Jason moved out of town.
Keep your
We
receipt.
conversed like no time had passed. He loved the gift and emphasized that he looked forward to getting something like that every visit. A joke in one breath, but something I secretly wanted to try keep up in the other. Sadly, the time came to leave, and I slowly trudged my way to the car, trying to make the moments last. When I settled down in the driver's seat, my heart jumped as I saw the elf doll sitting in the passenger side, staring at me. Through my joy, I had completely forgotten about that thing's existence, something I chastised myself for. Feeling guilty, I almost forgot to return it otherwise. Though I must have forgotten that I moved it too, as I only recalled seeing it when working on the gift wrapping in the back seat.
Oh, you didn't move it.
I set a destination on my GPS to swing by the antique store and made my way home. Luckily for me, the same store clerk from the few days prior was working when I arrived. He was daintily sitting at his post, not paying much mind to things. It took me a few attempts to get his attention, which he lapped up when he saw that he was going to be useful. Bless him. I pointed at my handwritten receipt of the sewing machine bought days before, which I could immediately see he was worried there was a problem with. I hastily emphasized that the sewing machine was fine, and that I had a different problem to what he may have thought.
The doll.
He perked up at this. There's nothing a passionate store clerk loves more than a nice, fun mystery. I pulled out the doll from my bag and let him hold it. He held it up to his face, inspecting the torn green outfit and the faded, cracked skin of the decrepit elf doll. I told him how it was against the item I bought, and that it was boxed by mistake. I felt a little bad that the mystery that excited him was that simple, but was ready to call it quits there. He furrowed his brow, some reason not immediately reacting with joy at my helpful amendment. Instead, he just lifted his head and meekly told me it wasn't his. This transferred the dumbfounded look onto my face, running the events back in my head to see if I'd made a mistake. This led to us just going back and forth, telling each other our side of things. I explained how I found it, and how it was next to the item bought, leading me to think he boxed it by mistake. On the other hand, he only rebutted with the fact that they never had any such item in their store. I offered to let him keep it, but he said, even free, it was in too bad of a condition to sell, and insisted that I take it home. Defeated, I waddled back to my car, not knowing what to do. Knowing it was bizarrely my possession, I now had less care as I slung it to the driver's seat and made my way home. When I was finally settled back in my comfortable living room, I took the time to study the strange object I now owned. It looked like it was a beautiful doll. Once. Its eyes had lost the life it had when first created, now just a dull husk devoid of color. The skin was cracked in many places, neglect worn on it through unhealing scars. Its hair lay clumped, some unknown substance, once used to keep it styled, now just matted and distressed it further. Its outfit resembled a classic helper of Santa, but the age took away the magic it attempted to convey.
Attempted.
To me, I wouldn't have given this doll to anyone if given the choice.
Maybe the dog.
So I made the fair decision to throw it away.
Should have been did that.
I lived peacefully with that decision until that peace was broken. Only a number of days later, I was doing my daily errands, cleaning my most used spots in the house, making sure to check the nook and crannies for collected dust balls. I reached my hand deep behind my sofa to give it a quick wipe, and my heart jumped up to my throat. My hand brushed something alien to my home. After catching my breath, I slowly reached down and pinched the disgusting feeling with my fingertips.
The doll.
Slowly, I pulled it up, only to be met with dead eyes that were becoming all too familiar to me. It was drenched, carrying the terrible weather from outside with it. As much as I tried to explain this away, how I possibly disgruntled a neighbor who thought I was fly tipping, or that an animal dragged it back in, smelling my home on it, nothing truly wrote away my fears.
That dog gonna get you.
I want to say that was a one-off. Sadly, it happened not once, but 3 separate times. Each time I dragged it further away, and each time it returned in heart-jumping spots, carrying remnants of its journey with it.
You need to burn it.
I shamefully threw it in the river on my last attempt.
It's moving now.
I even tied a few metal weights to its body.
Damn.
I felt guilty about the idea of littering in nature, but it was an ideal, permanent end, making sure if someone was trying to distress me with it, they couldn't get it back without an excessive amount of effort.
Your life is on the line.
I no longer jumped at the sight of the doll. I now felt sorrow at this strange, accursed item. Sitting in the middle of my bathtub, large glasses in the fiberglass of the tub, in line with the weights it looked like it dragged. A mystery I was terrified to solve. I decided to give it one final grave.
Burn it.
A fitting end. One we respectfully give to loved ones. I put the roughed up doll into a fine antique box
You're gonna
I
bury
decided was fitting. I bagged a fold-away shovel and headed to a quiet space in the local park. I felt that if some sort of paranormal entity was involved, it wanted a fitting end. My mind placed stories in my head about a girl's spirit that struggled to move on, or a grieving mother's spirit mourning the loss of a child. I respectfully gave it a nice ceremony in the park, replicating the ceremonies I'd loved of my dear friends' passings. My final vigil was a lit candle which swayed and danced as I walked away, feeling a mild sense of peace during my exit.
It's not over.
I was ready to go home and enjoy anything on TV that didn't relate to horror.
I bet.
No matter how complacent you get, you can always be startled. Maybe it was the unwarranted expectation of the transpired event, but my old heart didn't appreciate the beating it received when I saw my carpet clawed up with small, dirty marks. The scramblings, reminiscent to a startled cat soaked in mud, led around the house, settling on my favorite armchair. There it sat, very much carrying the wear of dirt and haste, but still in one piece. My empathy had run dry, and all that remained was a strong, burning desire to be rid of this accursed doll once and for all.
Burn it.
I dragged it out to the yard and swung open the neglected grill I had sitting in the yard. I poured all the chemicals I could find in the shed, which boasted about the dangers of how flammable they were. Once the cocktail was mixed, I flicked a match onto it and almost took my eyebrows off. I walked away, a sense of finality in my heart.
Yeah.
That night, I tried my best to sleep easy. I tried my hardest to squeeze my eyes and blank out the night until morning. But no matter how hard I tried, sleep wouldn't come. All because of the charred, black melted eyes staring at me
No.
from the other side of the bed.
No.
Life got significantly harder after that.
I bet.
Each night, I was tormented by the presence of the doll, always finding new ways to surprise me. But that was overshadowed by the events that happened throughout each day. Each time I'd come home, I'd return to the smell of something burning. Plastic, paper, food. I'd rush around my house trying to find the source, and when I did, I'd stamp out the small patch of flames immediately.
Excuse me.
Without fail, I'd look close by and see the doll sat somewhere, staring in the direction of the fire, holding a lighter or matches. I stopped stocking anything that could start a fire in my house. Yet this didn't reprieve these events. I'd still find a small fire in my house, accompanied by the doll holding a fire starter kit. Only these times, I didn't recognize them. I was riddled with a sense of anxiety. I would dread going home to start the cycle all over again.
It's time to move then, right?
Yet I feared worse, the idea of not coming home in time. This dichotomy tore me apart inside, taking years off my life. When I didn't leave the house, the fires would still happen, often catching me off guard, either mid-nap or in the middle of an errand. My house is slowly getting ruined each day, and there's nothing I can do to stop it.
You can move.
I'm scared that one day I won't make it home in time. Or worse,
You won't wake up.
I won't make it out.
Right. Dude, that's creepy. Man. Hell no. This doll was haunting the fuck out of you. You could move, but I don't know if that would even help, because if you move, then there's a chance that the doll will just follow you and be watching you, and fuck, you got to the fire stage, it might even try to light that house on fire and kill you. Yo, what? What is going on? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that one, brother. You was gonna get got. You know, it's either you're out and you don't get home fast enough to stop the fire, or you're asleep or taking a nap and the doll sets the house ablaze and you don't wake up in time. Or you do wake up, but you're not able to get out because all the exits are, you know, on fire. That's dark. That's deep. See, that's why this video definitely belongs in my creepy Christmas playlist that I'm making. It's got that dab of Christmas because it's an elf, but then it's got that little speck of horror and creepiness because the doll has a life of its own, and it's moving and it's doing things, and it's eventually gonna hurt you. But look, that's like a Christmas version of Chucky, Child's Play. But alright, y'all, that's it for this video. If you like my reaction, like the video, comment on the video, and share the video to your social medias. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. I'm really trying to grow this channel out. And tap that bell icon so you will be notified every time I drop new content, which I do on a weekly basis. That is all I got for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.